Now, after all of the delays and confusion around when this album was gonna drop, Playboi Carti finally released one of the most anticipated records in all of recent hip-hop with his brand new album I Am Music, and with this, even with how anticipated everything that Carti has been building and preparing with this record was, there has been one thing that has been getting more attention than everything else so far, and of course, that is the presence of none other than Kendrick Lamar on this record, who really didn't just manage to make for the most surprising team-up in rap because nobody saw Kendrick and Carti working together coming, but even with that, the surprises didn't stop there because Kendrick is not just featured once on this album, but he has 3 entire different guest verses, and with this, in every single perspective possible, whether we look at Kendrick's versatility as a rapper, his skill as a lyricist, which he has a lot to say here, or from the actual perspective of what this represents in the industry and what these new songs will mean. Overall, Kendrick Lamar has managed to continue to cement himself as one of the most valuable faces of not just hip-hop but the music industry ever. And at the same time as this, as Drake has been trying to work songs like his track Nokia to climb up the charts, Kendrick adding even more songs to his name that are going to end up taking the same spots that Drake has been trying to get, are going to for sure end any chance that Drake ever had of making a comeback with these songs. And now before we go any further into all of this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And now as there is so much that needs to be talked about with this new Carti record, really make sure to like and subscribe as we uncover just how important this album really is. And so with that said, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar and Playboi Carti, this duo is really one of the most exciting things that we could have seen in hip-hop, because for what they represent, this is really 2 different sides of rap music coming together. And while Carti is getting upped huge by having this much music with the king of hip-hop right now, Kendrick is also expanding his appeal to even more listeners than ever, which for the title Kendrick is now holding, this is only going to make sure that it's going to last longer and longer. And now before we get into any of the Kendrick and Carti tracks and what they all represent and what Kendrick is trying to tell us here, just from the songs actually coming out, Kendrick is showing us that his moves are only getting more calculated in this era, because even with the release of this album and therefore these 3 new tracks, with this coming out exactly a month after Drake dropped SSS for You, and really that record already having to compete with the Super Bowl and all of the hype from that after it dropped, now as it's trying to find support and work songs like Nokia to salvage it and make it a decent received and performing body of work, within the timeline we are seeing, it's not just going to go against Carti and his new solo songs, but now it also has to compete against 3 new tracks from Kendrick Lamar, and it will for sure lose. Because again, from every perspective possibly out there, Kendrick Lamar has managed to deliver 3 dynamic songs here that all serve completely different purposes. And that means whether it's on the rap, melodic, or just general charts, Kendrick has even more music to add to his already dominating catalog, and this is what we are bound to see. Because before we even get into the more lyrical performances where Kendrick Lamar delivered his most pivotal verse since GNX, we need to discuss how the song Backdoor is joining another Kendrick song like Luther as a smooth melodic cut that plays on rhythmic and pop charts as well as rap, and because of everything it can accomplish, manages to do the whole R&B thing that Drake was trying to secure easy wins with on SSS for You way better than any song on there does. And I mean, with this cut, which from the sample to the vocals to Carti and Kendrick's performances, which show how dynamic they have become as vocalists, and for Kendrick has shown how good he has become at writing and performing in all different types of musical tracks. This is really just a record that is going to stick around for a while and create a lot of problems for every other artist. But ultimately, who of course cares about the charts this much and whose album this is going to ruin? Will of course be Drake's. And now with this song, as it was produced by the guy who used to refer to himself as Mr. West a long time ago, I don't know how calculated this could have been, but with this song releasing on March 14th, which of course Drake has a song of the same name where he used that date because he was in Wyoming, and this was a pivotal day in terms of what went on behind the scenes for Pusha T's story of Adidon to happen. Altogether, while I don't know how thought out this really could have been on Kendrick's end, I do think it's definitely worth mentioning. And really, in this time where Kendrick has been quietly letting Drake know that he is not getting his spot back no matter what, this very well could be a subtle message that was supposed to be sent to him just in order to let Drake know that it's on and it will be over for him no matter what he tries to do and how he tries to pivot at this point. And now beyond having a new record that is gonna maybe even go #1 on the charts because it is that appealing to everybody, there's 2 other Kendrick Lamar songs on this record, and I think the best and most important one has to be the track Good Credit, which really, this song is the type of track that when you think of what this duo would be able to achieve, it just uses the best of their abilities, as it's a much darker song. And I mean, as Kendrick says on the track himself, Carti is his evil twin, and as Kendrick also says things like, "You know what it is, it's the vamps and the boogies." It really tells you both the type of vibe and message Kendrick wants to send here, and also how much he's believing and supporting Playboi Carti. And now with this verse, which is over a Cardo beat who also did a lot of the production on Euphoria for reference, Kendrick really delivers another performance that we are going to be talking about for a very long time. And between Kendrick just ascending further and further into rap all-time great status, Kendrick also throws more subliminals at Drake on this track, and again, since Drake is still doing the most petty things that disrespect what hip-hop stands for as a whole, it's really all deserved on Drake's end, and I think it's actually good for the betterment of the genre that somebody is calling him out. And now Kendrick has a lot of references here, which show just how tapped in he is to every single thing going on in hip-hop. As for example, with a bar like, "I would have said you too, but you knew what the list was for." What Kendrick seems to be referencing here is the Drake and 50 Cent co-signed Drake beef list, which has the running names of everyone who Team Drake has problems with, and overall with Kendrick pulling a reference out like this, it just shows how much he keeps his ear to everything going on, even when we don't realize it. And from bars like these to flexes about doing the most successful halftime show ever at the Super Bowl as a solo rapper, which he references in a super clever bar where he says "having my way like Usher dog, red blue diamond like Gusher dog," which of course the reference here is both to Usher's song My Way, and then it's also a mirror to Usher as they were the most recent Super Bowl halftime headliners. And I think even with this whole structure where Kendrick Lamar ends each bar with the word dog, as this verse is now marking the full circle moment of Kendrick, Future, and Metro Boomin's Like That, it feels like Kendrick is using this wordplay to tap back into the "For All the Dogs"-esque wordplay he was using to tell Drake what exactly was about to happen to him there. And now while there is a ton of great bars on this track, like the reference to Luka Doncic and even Kendrick just reminding everybody of who he is, I think the most important bars on this track are heard when Kendrick says, "Conspiracy theories is given, but I must admit it, you got the wrong person." And with these lines and the ones around it, this seems to be Kendrick's way of responding to Drake's suit and the idea of what he is doing there. As really what Kendrick is trying to tell us is that Drake's claim is so out there that he doesn't just not respect it, but that Drake has the wrong person for what he is trying to say and the wrong song and Not Like Us for what he is trying to push. And I mean, with this entire record, this song more than anything else is a turning point in hip-hop, as it's marking the first time we are hearing Kendrick Lamar after the Super Bowl and everything around there with an actual full-on verse. And of course here we are seeing him just expand and grow his entire skill set as an MC in ways that nobody would have ever expected, and I think doing it the way Kendrick has, it's just showing how serious he is about having the greatest peak that any rapper has by far, and overall by teaming up with Carti and his audience. It is showing how Kendrick is trying to not just change and shift hip-hop, but unite its most important parts, also we can get to a point where everyone is just creating and enjoying the most passionate art that they possibly can. And so with these records and with this entire new era, which is showing that nothing is off limits for Kendrick Lamar in terms of the artistic choices and paths he decides to take, I think it's amazing for hip-hop and is only going to give us more music like this, which is both as exciting and as good as it possibly can get for us right now. And I mean, with all of this happening, again, right as Drake has been trying to move up the charts with SSS for You and make a real chart-topping song with something like Nokia, with now Drake not just having to go against songs like Luther, Not Like Us, and TV Off anymore, and also having to go against other records here, which are going to not just be big songs, but in the case of something like Backdoor, that record has potential to become the biggest Carti song ever in terms of the appeal it has, because it's just so much smoother than anything else he has ever done. And it also sounds better than anything on Drake's new album. Overall, what is clear is that Drake just didn't mess with the wrong MC, but that now as Kendrick Lamar is the top guy in rap and it's not even close. By doing things like this and actually expanding both your craft and the other artists you are alongside and not taking away from their vision. And just in terms of actually doing collaborations right and adding to the artist's vision and not taking from it. This is what the track Mojo Jojo really is for Kendrick and Carti, because while Kendrick is able to just play in the background with ad-libs and vocals that overall add to the type of atmosphere Carti is trying to create, and overall, by doing this, Kendrick allows who he is working with to have their moment without taking away from it, like Drake loved to do when he was on big features all of the time. Which again, with Kendrick doing something like this, it's just so clear that he understands his place with this all. And really with this, while I don't think this record is gonna go #1 or be a genre shifter like the other collabs, it's a super engaging and fun song that almost feels like Kendrick and Carti's version of the Hillbillies to an extent, and I mean that in the best way possible. And so with all of this is how you do collaborations the right way, and if Kendrick Lamar keeps this up, it's gonna be a long time until anyone even gets close to Kendrick Lamar's #1 spot in the entire music industry. And so now with all that said, let me know. What do you think of these 3 new Kendrick Lamar and Carti records? Which one is your favorite? And what do you think about this entire moment we are seeing as rap fans right now? Now really be sure to let me know your early thoughts on this entire Carti album as well. We are definitely going to be talking about it more, so stick around for that. Now I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all of this, and if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And now if you want to see how right before this, it was guaranteed that Kendrick Lamar was going to change everything in hip-hop with these collabs, check out the suggested video.